Hello?
Hi, Gabi. How's it going?
Good, how are you?
Doing good. So before we get started here, first question I had for you, obviously just kind of going back to the start, over 11,000 applicants for Tough Enough in the last couple of months. That's when it first started, but obvious question here, but how did you find out about the show before you applied for it?
The show came along, I think, in January. I actually hesitated to apply because, it was more kind of a reality show. And, we did some research, my husband and I, Tom, and we found out that Tough Enough was a show really about wrestling, because, that's really what I want to do for the rest of my life.
Mm-hmm.
And that's how we decided to apply for Tough Enough.
So also a couple weeks ago, too, or about a couple weeks into the competition, they took you guys to a live Raw in Atlanta, which was probably your first Raw show, right?
Absolutely, yes.
And you guys went to a few NXT shows, too. So how was that experience? Did that watching that show live kind of make you more of a fan than you were before kind of coming into the show? Did that really turn any head? Like, was there anything about that that made you love wrestling more, kind of made you want to do this?
Oh, absolutely. We're talking about 20,000 people looking at you and cheering for you or booing you on. It doesn't really matter. But you see all these people there giving you the vibe, and, there's no words to explain, like, when you are in that situation. And all I can tell you, I can't wait to go back. I can't wait to perform on Raw night or, for whatever, WrestleMania. I'm being, kind of ego right now.
Yeah,
I want this bad, but I can't wait to go back. It's just an amazing feeling.
And it's crazy, too, because sometimes, I know a couple years ago when they had the last season of Tough Enough, they brought all the contestants out there, I think right before the show began, so people didn't really know what it was about. And the guys that day, or the whole cast of Tough Enough that season, got booed out of the building when they were brought out for Raw. So when you guys came out for Raw that night a couple weeks ago in Atlanta, did you guys, or you specifically, have any nerves about the crowd just kind of rejecting you guys, or any nerves about the crowd, the reaction to your segment when you guys came on, because it's live?
Well, honestly, not to me, because, as long as it's having a reaction from people booing me off or cheering for me, that's all that matters. I think if people are quiet, they don't care. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I can't speak for others. I got a pretty good clap when they called my name up.
Yeah, exactly. And I feel like on the show, too, you can't be someone, like a Sarah Lee, who was kind of getting a little better in recent weeks. She was a girl that early on didn't really do anything to stand out. And I think you specifically were the one that kind of had more of a personality than more of the other girls on the other show, on the show itself. So you definitely need to stand out in order to get a reaction, absolutely.
Yeah, once again, I think right now, Sarah Lee is incorporating a little bit of Gabi.
Yeah.
Learning how to speak her mind a little more, and that's great, good for her. And I also think that Sarah is the American dream, the girl from the small town that, came to WWE. And, I don't know if you're going to ask me this or not, but I think right now, Sarah is going to be the one that's going to win Tough Enough.
Yeah, I think they got, who they have left? They have Sarah Lee, they have Chelsea, they have Gigi and Sarah. Oh, Gigi, Sarah, and Amanda, too, who also survived tonight. So, yeah, there's a good chance.
And that's such a mistake,
Yeah.
I have no words but to explain how mad I am. But, to see a guy like Mata going like Patrick, it's starting to, make no sense. It's getting really subjective. Like I said, it's hard for me to be like a contestant now, an audience, to see things happen. I don't really understand what's going on right now.
It
makes no sense.
Yeah, it's weird, because the whole premise of the show should be to find the next WWE superstar, and the fan voting, I understand it. They want to have the network, they want to incorporate the viewers and stuff, do some live voting and stuff like that to make it more socially relevant, with people tweeting to keep them to keep the certain competitors and whatnot. But yeah, I was shocked by the elimination of Patrick last week, of you the week before. They had Daria gone the week before that. They had Mata, like all the people that have some sort of potential on the show. They're just getting rid of week by week. So, kind of on that note, like you said, they got rid of Mata this week. They got rid of Patrick last week. Do you feel like the fan voting aspect of the show is flawed? That's kind of been one of the biggest arguments, or one of the biggest gripes from fans with the show is that the fan voting is kind of taken a turn for the worse, and that they only vote for the people that are their favorites. I mean, Sarah Lee's kind of gotten better. ZZ is very likable, but it's apparent 6 or 7 weeks into the competition he doesn't have what it takes to be a superstar. So do you feel like the fan voting kind of has hindered the process of how they find the next superstar?
Absolutely. Because right now, if we didn't have the fan voting, right?
Yeah.
Fan voting, and if you have like the last season with Stone Cold, he was the one eliminated from that. Mistaken him and Trish Stratus. I think if the coaches had a thing, the show would have been much better. Meaning like they would have better competitors, better superstars coming out of this.
So also on that note too, this is another thing that I was kind of wondering, because they have the 3 judges. They had Paige, Daniel Bryan, and of course they had Hulk Hogan before, who has now been replaced by The Miz. Those 3 judges only really they judge you based on what they see on the show, just like me or any other viewer, whereas the coaches, Billy Gunn, Lita, and Booker T are with you guys every single day of the week, and they have no say in who stays or who goes. So do you feel like that's another part of the show that's flawed too?
Yeah, I would think that our coaches should be the judges, because they're the people that are with the contestants most of the time. They know what's going on. For example, Billy Gunn lives right down the street from the Performance Center. He pops in and out of the barracks, very often. I think Billy Gunn should definitely have been one of the judges, maybe all of the coaches, like I said before.
Mm-hmm.
It kind of, because they do know how we act. They know how we are off camera. You know what I mean? So to me, it would have been better the way they did in the past.
Yeah, it seemed like the last season they had a better hold on who they know who should stay and who should go, because the coaches, at least in that sense, in watching prior seasons of the show. But before we get into that though, did you guys have any chance to watch past seasons of Tough Enough? Because you guys had the network at the barracks, and were you able to watch the past seasons of the show while you were there?
Well, they did have Apple TV. We had access to WWE Network, but we never really watched Tough Enough. Now this is Tough Enough. We watched like Raw or History or that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But me personally, I did a research on Tough Enough before I applied for the show, and I did see other seasons.
Is that what you were expecting going in, like a kind of style where Stone Cold would kind of meet you in the ring and kind of grill you guys and give you pointers on how to get better? They didn't really do that this season, but when going in after being selected for the show and getting into the top 13, was that what you were kind of expecting out of the format? Did they let you know?
Absolutely, because this is no joke,
Yeah.
I would say, me personally, and I can't speak for Patrick and Mata, we applied for this because we wanted to become a WWE superstar or diva.
Mm-hmm.
We didn't want the TV time because neither of us needed, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So we're here, I say we are here because we're still in Orlando getting trained by Hassan Samoan.
Yeah.
We should have stayed in a show, and yes, if it was, the coaches judging us, I think we would still be in the show because they see the effort that we put on and the timing and how athletic we are and how better we want.
So they had a lot of big names associated with the show too. As they mentioned, they had Hulk Hogan on there. They had Hulk Hogan on there at one point. Chris Jericho serves as the host, and a lot of established trainers as well. Lita, Booker T, Billy Gunn. While you were on the show, was there any notable name, any legend of any sort backstage at Raw or NXT or whatever that came up to you specifically and kind of gave you any pointers on how to either during the competition or after you got eliminated that gave you any tips to kind of get further in the business?
I did talk to Booker T over the phone.
Mm-hmm.
He also brought me to his radio station, and he gave me a couple of referrals where to go from here, and I took one of his advices in terms of training. I think, for example, that's my opinion. I don't know what goes on in their mind, I do think that Booker T believes me, and he knows I want this bad, and every time they saw me, they know, you know what I mean? Even though it's a competition, but they're able to judge.
And at the end of the day, too, it's all a reality series. They're obviously, and I was talking to Tom about this before, they're just going to pick apart certain parts of the show, what people say, what people do to get drama out of it. And of course, while you were on the show, one of the biggest talking points, one of the biggest focal points of the program was your drama with Amanda. So do you feel like your drama with Amanda that was ongoing throughout the first few weeks of the show, do you feel like that kind of hindered your chances of the fan voting in the end and kind of WWE or the production team or whoever was editing the show kind of painting you as the bad guy at certain points?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. They only have 1 minute to show the reality part of it. They cannot show everything. They didn't show the humble part of Gabi, you know what I mean? The times that I cried because my mother was hospitalized, or the conversations that I had with Patrick about, being humble and that kind of stuff. Mm-hmm. I'm not saying that they portrayed me wrong. Yes, I am who I am, and I speak my mind. If I have a problem with you, I'm going to tell you so. And Amanda has been lying that she has a problem with her breast implants, you know what I mean? And that's what got me so mad, that she took a step of someone that really wanted to be at WWE, and she didn't even know anything about the business before.
Mm-hmm.
Because I do have text messages that we exchanged prior to coming Tough Enough, because we know each other from Connecticut, mm-hmm. and she didn't want to be here. She just came here for the TV time.
And you mentioned the humbleness too, and that was kind of a factor that played into the elimination of Patrick just last week. So on that note, do you feel like, because when Patrick got cut, they said that he wasn't humble, and there was only one clip where he was trying to motivate ZZ into improving his physique, which he kind of tried to do this week. But that being said, do you feel like the criteria the judges use, I mean, we already kind of talked about them before, how they're never really around you, so they really can't get a full hold on what you guys are like, how you're improving, whatever. They only kind of tell from the show. Do you feel like the criteria that the judges use to eliminate people, or at least put them in the bottom three, like with Patrick, and saying that he's not humble, whereas he was, and he still got cut from the show, do you feel like the criteria they use is also flawed?
I believe it's wrong. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because there's not one individual in that barracks that wanted this as much as Patrick wanted,
Mm-hmm.
Patrick is passionate about the business. He's extremely humble. The sad part of it, that they don't show that Patrick lost his father when he was 2 years old, and then they never show that Patrick was watching TV one day and he found WWE, and that's how he fell in love with the business. He was like about 8 years old, blah, 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 blah. You know what I mean? So he's humble. He loves the business. He wanted to be here. And it's not fair that they don't, balance that out and just eliminate whatever. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And did it seem like the producers, or kind of also on that note, did it seem like the producers only really included certain clips to make the viewers feel a certain way about an individual, whether it be you or another competitor on the show?
Once again, it's a reality show. They can only put as much as, they can. I can't say that.
Mm-hmm. Well, also, too, during your elimination a couple weeks ago, it really came down to you, Sarah Lee. Was ZZ the other one in the bottom three that night?
Don't remember. Hold on, bottom three. Me? No. Tanner? Tanner and ZZ.
Tanner and ZZ? No. Well,
I don't remember.
I could have sworn it was Sarah Lee because you guys all cut Oh, was it? It was Tanner. It was Tanner. You're right.
Me, Sarah, and Tanner. Yeah,
that's what it was. Yeah, because Tanner cut a promo on Daniel Bryan. You cut a promo on Hulk, I think.
No, I cut a promo on Daniel Bryan, and he cut a one on Hulk Hogan, and Sarah did one on
Paige. Yeah, so that's what it was. So do you feel like, because that entire episode, like, I like Sarah, you said that she was your pick to win, mine as well, I think she's good, she's gotten better, but that whole episode was kind of dedicated or showing clips of her, not doing well in the physical challenges, and it really looked like she was going home. And we already talked about before the popularity contest this kind of show kind of became. But do you feel like, were you shocked when you were eliminated? Because it kind of felt like that Sarah Lee was the one. Everyone thought that she was going home, but that one promo that she cut on Paige kind of seemed to sway the opinion of the viewers. She really kind of came out of her shell in that moment. So were you shocked to see yourself go home on that night?
Well, I can only speak for myself. I was shocked for the fact that I don't believe my fans would turn their backs to me because I was more popular than Sarah Lee at that point on Twitter or any single poll they did at WWE or USA Network had one, and I had the most votes. You know, I was like leading 52%. I had on that day way more followers than her. So. And then it comes down to it that when they tweeted the hashtag was wrong, and one of most of all my fans proved that the voting it was off. That I had the most votes and Tina had the least votes.
Really?
Yeah. So that's one of the reasons that Booker T brought me here to his radio show. To talk about that, because when Chelsea got hurt, they thought they would have to replace her, and then I would have been one to replace her.
And of course, yeah, it ended up being the case. Yeah, she ended up doing better, I guess. She ended up, coming back from the injury.
Yeah, good for her, though, because, here's another thing. She wants to be there, too. She's already a wrestler. It's not like the two other bikini clones, like Amanda and Georgia. They're just there for the TV time.
Yeah, that's what it kind of comes across like on this show, and especially in the more recent episodes, it definitely comes across that way. And I'm still shocked that, like you said, you were pissed before, but I was super mad that Miz saved her. Miz is great, but I'm very shocked that he saved her. I don't know why. He didn't really justify his decision. I didn't watch Tough Talk, but did he say anything on the show as to why he saved her? Because it really didn't make any sense.
Well, Amanda was going to go home with 13%.
Yeah.
Of the votes, and he saved her. I don't know. I don't know. Like you said, it's a competition. I don't know. Maybe he sees that she could do better, But I honestly, it's not because I had a problem with her. I just don't see her being a diva. You can see her performance on the ring, and I've been getting my personal training right now. I am ahead of them. And you can see on Twitter and in videos that I've been posting, I am way better than her. So if they have 4 weeks, I'm going to be literally 8 weeks ahead of them because of the training that I get. I just don't see her becoming a diva with her skills right now.
Yeah, I mean, Miz is a part of the reality business. He's been on a lot of reality shows before, so and being a part of this one, maybe he saw that Amanda brought drama to the show and he wanted to keep her around. I have no idea. So that was a shocking decision.
If that was the case of all the drama, I should have stayed then.
Exactly, yeah, if that was going to be the case. Do you feel like also that they could have saved you at any point? The judges have had saves, and Miz used a save tonight. He was back to replace Hulk Hogan. Do you feel like the judges should have saved? Or do you feel like the fan voting was one part of the elimination of you and Patrick and Mata in recent weeks? Do you think it's also partially the judges' fault for not using their save in any of those people?
Well, they do have one case, right? And they can judge. They can see it was good or not. I mean, if I was a judge, I would have. And I thought that Paige was going to save me.
Oh, really? Yeah, you thought Paige was going to save you?
Yeah, I thought so. Because, I don't know. I just had that kind of intuition. And I was like, oh, maybe she's going to save me. And she didn't, because she looked at me and we talked afterwards. Like, oh, I was going to save you. But, I seen you in the show. It looked like you didn't want to be here anymore, and that's why I didn't use my save.
Really? Also, speaking of that, too, I mean, kind of going off the elimination part of it, they really don't do anything to show, they don't really give any criteria as to who should stay and who should go home. It's really all kind of biased. I mean, it's really all a popularity contest. Exactly. And it's weird. I don't know why they do the way they do it the way they do when it comes to the elimination. But like you said, with the elimination botched, so to speak, and that you could have been saved had it not been for the Twitter debacle. But was there anything you feel like you could have improved upon to save yourself from elimination?
Well, people keep saying about the promo, like they also did show a promo that I caught against the King Barrett, and it was pretty damn good. They didn't show it, and honestly, they highlighted the parts that I couldn't do it. Honestly, I couldn't even look at the other seats that was discussed about her, and I was trying to be professional, and honestly, they showed parts of that. She said, look at me, this is the promo, but I can't look at your face, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
That was my point. And then when Brian had to cut a promo again, I said, of course I wanted to say, hey, I hope you never wrestle again, with this next problem that you have, or I know you're afraid because I'm going to take your wife's spot, that kind of stuff. But I had rehearsal my bottom 3 for 4 weeks, and that's all I had in my mind. So basically that's, why I got voted off. But like I said, I don't believe my fans would vote me off because of that.
And it's weird, too, because like I was talking about before, the judges have the saves, and maybe they want to use those saves for later on in the show when they feel like someone could really need it. But the thing is that week by week by week, they keep on cutting people that deserve to win, So at what point do you use that save? I mean, the people that are left, Sarah's good, but I think maybe there's 7 people left. Of the 7 people left, she's really the only one that has potential. And I think it was Mick Foley that said on his Facebook or something that a lot of the people that you were in the competition with, they're all good. They're all really good, but I think a lot of them are long-term projects. Like Josh, you mentioned, I think has potential, but a lot of these people aren't going to be ready to be a WWE superstar at any point in the near future because a lot of them just don't have that same passion that you and a lot of the other competitors that have been eliminated recently, So that part is flawed to me too, but I don't get that aspect either.
Yeah, I don't know. Like I said, it's a wrestling show. It should be focused on people that it's really improving on the ring. So I don't know. Like I said, people said I was there. Amanda said I was there for the TV time. If it was for the TV time, I was not going to pursue my dream. Change my entire life and routine to stay in Florida and continue my training to do my tryout in October. And if it doesn't work out, one in January. So,
that's great, yeah. Well, at least you're keeping with wrestling, and I'll ask you about that a little bit towards the end, too, and at least you're keeping with your dream of becoming a wrestler. And there's a lot of people in that competition that probably wouldn't, and it just doesn't make any sense, because there's a lot of those people that they're just not going to make it at any point in the near future, because a lot of the previous Tough Enough winners haven't gone anywhere, so... But, as they mentioned before, that at the end of the day, it's a reality show, but do you feel like they could have incorporated more wrestling aspects into the show, more wrestling challenges? Because it seems like every other episode they only show maybe 30 seconds of wrestling and everything else is some other random skill challenge and swimming with gators or something like that. So do you feel like they could have used more skill challenges in these shows?
Once again, it's a reality show. That's all I can say.
yeah. I guess that kind of speaks for itself. But still, the night of your elimination, you were talking to Renee Young, and you said that you were happy to have been eliminated. So, do you feel like you're honing your craft at the WWE Performance Center or elsewhere, as you said, at the Wild Samoan School or on the independent circuit or wherever, is kind of an easier or more logical route to getting to WWE as opposed to winning this kind of, I don't want to say foreigner reality show. It does have its highlights, but it seems like it's very a wronged concept. But still, do you feel like the route that you're now taking is a better, an easier, more logical way of getting in the business than winning some reality show like that?
Well, answer to Renee's question, obviously I said at the spur of the moment. Mm-hmm. I was in WWE, although didn't show a lot of training and stuff like that, but being in a performance center it's amazing. And yeah, I did say that in the spirit of the moment when I said that, I'm glad to be out. The only thing I thought, I'm glad not to be a drummer anymore because my goal is to learn how to wrestle. And Tough Enough was an addition to WWE, at least people saw that I am serious about it. people notice me in many aspects, and I believe right now the route I'm going to, it's really good though. I can't say it's better, but it's really good.
And it seems like, although the show did have its benefits, like I said, it gets you more exposure and it kind of get you noticed by WWE to begin with, because if you weren't on the show, maybe you wouldn't have got the tryout in October for NXT at the Performance Center. But it seems like the training that I've been hearing that you're doing now, that you just said that you were doing now and will be going forward through the next couple of months, it seems like you're going to be doing more wrestling and stuff that will actually play a part in your future now than you were when you were on the show. It just seems like it should be the other way around, but I guess that's just kind of the way it works,
Yeah. Once again, it's reality TV show, so
yeah.
I have this spare time, and I decide to make changes in my life, and I'm accommodating 5 days of training, maybe more. We're talking about 4 hours a day. It's just it's insane. And I'm sure, when you get to NXT, it's about the same thing. But like I said, Tough Enough is a reality TV and show, and they have to do the reality part of it, have to do the training, have challenges. They have to show a lot of stuff, and it gets caught up, most of them.
Well, do you feel like? Yeah, well, and do you feel like in watching the previous season of Tough Enough with Stone Cold, the season from 2011, that they could have just made the show completely taped? Because that season was all taped months in advance, I believe. It was not a mixture like this one is of being taped and then live, tape live, tape live. Do you feel like that also kind of hindered the show itself because they weren't really able to get enough clips of you guys?
Well, they wanted to do the show different. That's what I heard,
Yeah.
They wanted to have the public, they wanted to have the show basically live. So, it's different. I just I don't know, because I can't see. I wasn't in the show, in the past season. But it's totally different. We film, and within, I don't know, let's say 48 hours, they flip the film and it's ready to go.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's strange the way it kind of... I get the network probably wanted to... They said when they put out the press release for the show back in January, I think, they said they wanted a more reimagined format. I think they were kind of pushing for that more live format to the show where they can incorporate, like I said earlier, the socially relevant aspect of it, where they can have fan voting and people tweet in and stuff like that to boost ratings and whatever. But I think they're just kind of experimenting with it, especially if they bring the show back. Maybe they'll do something where it's kind of like last season, where it's more taped, or they just kind of, it's a first-run season, so they'll always probably, improve upon it in the future. But final question for you, and you already kind of touched upon it, kind of a broad question too, but what are your plans for your future in wrestling going forward?
Well, step by step, I have to go through NXT, and from there, hopefully, to become a diva. I am getting lots of training with the Wild Samoa Alpha, and it's very intense. We go step by step, and we don't move forward until I get the move or, the drill, whatever, So it's very detailed. It's very specific. It's an amazing atmosphere. Everybody is very respectful. And, there's a lot of love and passion in that place, and that makes me feel so good. So, honestly, it's going to be sad. I'm going to be really sad when I leave there, but it's part of the game, though.
Awesome. And, of course, the fans can always follow you on Twitter, follow your journey in wrestling, and as you continue to improve and train at the Wild Samoan School. I can tell you right now, a lot of big names have come out of that school, and he knows what he's talking about. That guy's a legend of the business, so you're in good hands. But going forward, though, where can the fans find you? Where can they find you on social media and any other things you'd like to plug before we let you go?
All right, so I have Instagram and Twitter, both are at Top Gabi, and that's established. We're not going to change that. And just follow my journey. I'll be posting videos and photos, things about wrestling very often, almost every day. On the weekends, obviously. Besides me putting an ice tag in my back, because I've been really sore lately. I'm getting beat up by guys. It's just crazy. That's the good thing about being there, because there's no girls.
Yeah.
So I am working with guys. So that makes it better.
I can imagine. Yeah, exactly. So there's no drama or anything like that you have to worry about going forward. Like, I don't have to worry about drama with Amanda today and her being jealous or anything like that, So you can just...
No, I don't about like a boob dropping in a ring, because it's not going to happen.
Exactly. And you don't have to focus on any drama. So, Gabi, thanks so much for joining me, and good luck going forward.
Thank you.
No
Thanks
problem.
for having me.
You're welcome. Talk to you soon. Bye.
Bye-bye.